So this is going to be a video on how to replace your rear brake pads on a 1999 Toyota Camry with a V6. There should be a similar process for 1997 to 2001 model years, but they have to have the V6 because the V6 came with the disc brakes as shown here. Four cylinders have drum brakes, which is a different video. So to get started, you're going to need a 12mm socket attached to the ratchet on the left, as you can see in the video. You're going to need brake grease to put on your new brake pads to help lubricate them. You want the new brake pads, obviously, and then a C-clamp, which you'll use later. So I already jacked up my car, and if you want to know how to jack up a car, you can go look at my other video that I have. But once you've done that, you can come and look over here. Brake caliper off. So this is the brake caliper, and you're gonna find the bolt that you need to take off on the bottom here. It's the 12mm bolt I mentioned earlier. There's only one bolt on the bottom, so this top one doesn't have anything. So if you can't find it, look towards the bottom because that's the only one you're gonna have to take off. So it might be hard to take off at first, but what I would do is put some WD-40 on it if it's being really tough and wait for a little bit, or like PV Blast or something like that. But mine's pretty loose because I cracked it off a little bit. So once you get that, it's a pretty long bolt, but the thread's short. So once you feel it a little more free, you can just pull it off with your hands. But we're just gonna keep going for a little bit here until I feel that it's a little more free. And so now I can take off this bolt, and this is what it should look like. So you can just put that to the side, just make sure you remember where it is. And once you've done that, you can try and get the caliper off. So it might be hard to budge at first, but you gotta pull it really hard up. And once you get that off, you can just slide the top part and just slide it off there, because you're gonna need to take it off anyway for later. So it might be really hard to slide off, but you want to just keep working at it until you can get to the point where you can just take it off here. And once you've gotten to like that, you can just rest it on your rotor here. Just make sure it's not touching the rotor at the bottom, just on top of the rotor. This is so that the brake line doesn't like collapse or anything on itself. And so now you can see I got my old brake pads. This one still had a lot of life left in it, but the other side didn't have any, so that's why I'm replacing these ones too. So these two look pretty good, but I'm still gonna replace them just to keep everything even. So you want to make sure you remember that the shim is on the outside. So this is on the outside, so facing outwards, because that's going to be your sensor for next time. So on the new brake pads now, if you open them up, you should see that one of them has a shim and the other one doesn't. So this is the one with the shim on it. So this is the one we're going to put on the outside. So first what you want to do is, when you're putting the brake pads on the ground, don't put them, just put them outside down, because the brake material, you don't want anything to get on there and then ruin your rotors. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some of my brake lubricant and then just put it on the edge of the pad right here where it's going to go onto the rotor. So just some right there, and then just spread it on if you want to just get a good contact. And then you just do that for the other side. And once you've done that, you can just slide it right on, and it should just fit right in like that. And just do that for the next side too. So I just like to get it on my glove, it's a lot easier. So just get it on your glove and then kind of just spread it onto there. Just same process as the other brake pad. So then once you've done that, you just put this brake pad in too on the other side. And once you've gotten that, you'll realize that now the caliper won't go back on properly because this piston is compressed to the size of the old brake pads. So as you can see, the piston isn't flat right here. It's like coming out a little bit. So what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna want to take an old brake pad, place it on the piston with the brake pad side facing onto the piston. And then you take your C-clamp that I mentioned earlier, and what we're going to do is we're going to compress it so that it resets itself in a way so it can readjust to the new brake pads. So you just put the C-clamp on like that, and you just slowly start pushing the piston back, and if you watch that, you'll see it moving a little more. So just keep doing that until it's relatively flat or it just stops going in. So I think that should be good. And so just take your old brake pad, take the C-clamp off, and now you can see it's like more flattened out. So you don't have like jutting out anymore, so it should be able to go back on. So just put it back onto your the top part back on, just slide it back on, and it should be moving freely. And then just put the new brake pads in. We kept them in there, and then you should be able to just slide this back on, but it might be a little tough because we slid this off, so just keep working at it until it goes back on, because there's like this jutting now since we have the new brake pads on. So once it goes back on like that, you just take your bolt and put it back in and just tighten it back up. So once you're done with that, you should be able to just you want to go press your when you like put your car back down with the wheel and everything, obviously you want to go pump your brakes a few times so that the piston can readjust, so that when you're first driving your car, you don't suddenly have a bunch of space between the piston and your new brakes. So just go pump your brakes a few times until you feel them tighten up, and make sure your car's started when you do that so the brake fluid gets flowing too. And once you do that, you should be good to go. So that's how you change the brake pads for a 1997 2001 V6 Camry on the rear. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them below. But also, if there's any errors in this video, just feel free to correct me. But thanks for watching.